Welcome to my 2021 Holiday Card Series. You can find the reference material for all the paintings in this series by clicking on the project page link in the description of this video. Okay, we're ready to begin this Christmas card, and this is going to be another snowy winter scene with some trees. This is the template for it, which is available on my project page. And as with many of the winter scenes I'm doing in the cards for this year, I'm going to make this a snowy winter scene. So I'm going to dip my toothbrush into some masking fluid, and then I'm just going to splatter a little of that around to give me the feeling of snow blowing around once I remove that. So just a little bit, doesn't take much. As I tap it on my hand, it creates some bigger drops. So I get a variety of texture. And that's probably gonna do it. So that's on a 5x7 card, and we're gonna let that air dry, and then we'll begin to paint. This is dry, and I've decided on this that I'm going to make these pine trees here have a little bit of snow sitting on them. Not a lot, just a little bit. A few areas here. I'll do a little bit here. And that's probably enough. And now, once again, I'll let this dry. Okay, now all the masking fluid's dry, the splatter, and then the areas where I put snow on these trees. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to take my wash brush. I'm going to take a little of this royal blue, color I use a lot, and add some water to it. And I'm going to take a little raw sienna. Grade this down a little bit. So this is going to be a light sky back here. So it's kind of a grayish blue. And just a light value. And I'm going to bring that down all the way to where the snow starts. So I'm painting over where some of these trees are. I'll go around these a little bit. So I've got it so that my sky is coming all the way down to here, suggesting that the snowy area is here. And while that's wet, I'm going to take, let's see, I'll take a little bit more of the raw sienna. I'm going to add a little, let's see, some raw umber to it. Maybe a little cobalt blue. And I'm just going to drop this color in here to suggest some distant trees that are in here. So just a very light tone, and I think I might actually take a little bit of that burnt orange and give just a little bit more tone to it. I don't really want to brush it a little too much. I should just let paint kind of settle in there. And again, a little more color, but keeping it light. And I might actually even take just a little sap green, just to indicate that there might be some pines or something back here in the distance that gives that kind of a greenish tone. And I want to pick up some of this excess moisture here. It's come down to where the paper is dry and starts collecting. So I'll pick that up. And now I'm going to take a hairdryer. I'm going to dry this and then I'll continue. All right, that's dry. And I'm going to just paint some shadows in the snow. And really, I'm going to use a similar color to what I used in the sky. So this has a little bit of royal blue, some raw sienna, maybe a touch of burnt orange, not much. I'm going to add a little rose madder to it. Okay, and so I'm keeping this fairly neutral, not a lot of bright colors in here. I want to indicate kind of the role of the land here and where things come together. I'll leave this edge lighter. And I'll take some of this right in here and some clear water. Soften that edge a little. And I'm going to add a little bit more of the royal blue to strengthen the contrast. And there we go. So now, once again, I want to dry this. Okay, next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix, some raw sienna, a little ultramarine blue, just to get a kind of a grayish earth tone that's light and warm. And I'm going to take my number 6 liner brush here, or rigger brush, and I'm going to start to put in some tree trunks. And leave spaces because you don't see all the way through a tree, or you don't see the entire tree trunk when it has foliage over it. So these are going to represent kind of tall, wispy white pines. Put a few in here. And I'm gonna, while I have this, I'm gonna get something a little darker, some raw umber, some royal blue, and I'm gonna give just a little indication that we have a tree trunk and some branches in this here, maybe a little bit here. And I think I'll go ahead and put in these distant tree trunks, a few of them closer. I'm going to get a number 1 liner brush for this tree that's a little closer. Really don't want too much there. Most of these are just in the distance. So I'm just trying to put in some faint lines to show all those trees that are in the distance here that are really part of what I started to put in with all this foliage out of here. Just that soft wash. So that's probably enough. Not getting too dark or anything with that. And now I'm going to take 1/2 inch flat brush. Take a little sap green and add to this raw umber with a touch of rose madder. And a little water. I'm trying to keep this a little thin. And I'm going to just have kind of low moisture. I'm going to push a little and drag. Trying to keep these nice and airy. And most of this is going to be high up on the foliage. Gets a little kind of hard to see through as they start to overlap. Now I'm going to add a little of this blue, so it starts to feel a little different, you know, temperature wise, and gives the impression that this could be back further. And I'm actually going to start to fill this area up, but I still want this texture to be broken. So we'll show some branches down here. I get just a little of this royal blue so I can get darker. So I have some darker trees in here and some areas where you can't quite see through. It starts to get a little darker. And I'll come back with some stronger tree trunks, I think. A little darker value. Put a little of this out here with this cooler. And let's see. Now, I'm probably gonna, I think I'm okay. Before I dry that, I'm gonna mix a stronger color to use for that tree trunk. A little stronger in here. I'm going to use some of that out here. So now we can start to see that tree trunk a little stronger over the green shapes there. And now, actually, I'm gonna, before I dry this, I'm gonna give an indication of these little pines I have drawn in here. Not too much variation, kind of silhouetted, just kind of a dark silhouette. Might lighten those a little, just hit them with a tissue. And I've got one here. I think I can go ahead and paint. And I'm going to bring that over a little bit. Got a little warmer mixture. So we got that tree in. And now I want to dry it before I put these in because this is still a little damp in that area. Okay, that's dry. So I'm going to take my sat green, some royal blue, I want this to be pretty dark, some rose madder. I take some quinacridone gold over here. And I just want to, some dark greens, but some variation in temperature as I paint this. But a lot of it's just going to be kept fairly cool. So when I want it to be dark, it's just going to contrast these trees behind it. Don't forget, I've kind of put some masking fluid on here to show where there'll be some snow just hanging on the tree. I'm going to paint a second one here. And these will come down, kind of forming one shape at the bottom. Good. I drug some wet paint there, and I don't really want that there. I want to see the snow, so I'm actually gonna just take a little brush, a stiff brush, and scrub that out so that that trunk stops right on that edge. And now let me dry this. So I'm gonna get this off my palette. I want to go a little darker on this snow. So we'll clear a space here to get some clean paint down. Okay. So I'm going to take my wash brush. I'm going to take some of this royal blue. And I'll take a little burnt orange maybe. And I'm going to go darker here. Darker here. A little bit here. I'm going to take a little water. Let me get more water. Soften the edge a little. Let's see if we can soften that without going up, losing the white there. So that works better with that darker value. And let's see, let me soften that a little. Okay, now let's dry it. We'll take off that masking fluid. So that's dry. I'm going to take this pickup eraser. Take off the masking fluid. We start to see that, the snow coming through, and I don't like that shape that I have there, that mark. So I'm going to take a dark green and add a little bit more to that. And now let's see, I might actually take some of that very dark mixture and just pick up a few pockets of darker value. just on this tree that's near us. That's probably good enough. Might do something here. So there we have our snowy trees. So I'm going to dry that quickly. Okay, that's dry. So I'm going to carefully take off this tape. And there we go, here's the card. So just a little winterscape with some tall pines and some kind of Christmas tree pines here near us, and just some things going on distantly, but kind of a snowy day. So I hope you have fun painting this.